Joining me now is Congressman Bennie Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi, who served as chair of the House January 6th Select Committee. So thank you so much, Congressman, for being here. So I want to get started on, of course, this Democratic soul searching that's going on now. What do you think Democrats need to do and need to say to win in 2026, 2028 and beyond? And should the party be focused on winning back Americans who voted for Donald Trump in 2024?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is take an autopsy of what we did during this election, what we didn't do well, and how we can fix it. So part of it is to look at the demographics and statistics of the election, make sure that the numbers are accurate. As you know, we still have a few races that are still out, but for all intents and purposes, as you know, Republicans won and Democrats lost. So what we have to do is see whether our messaging was correct. Yeah. We have to look at the polling. We have to then say to the voters who used to vote Democratic, who are either not voting now, voting Republican, we need to find out why, and then we need to fix it. I think we can no longer, as Democrats, assume that there's a body of voters that are naturally Democratic. I think this election shows us that the voters are there looking for a message. And if it's the right message, they'll support you. If it's not the right message, they'll either stay at home or they'll vote for the opposition. So we still have some soul searching to do as Democrats.
Yeah. And some of that soul searching, as you talk about this, is the Democrats are saying that there need to be more of a focus on working class. So some, though, worry that Democrats trying to appeal to the working class may be overlooking the fact that many black people who voted overwhelmingly for Vice President Harris are also in the middle class, in the working class, and often sometimes making less money than middle class white voters. So I want to ask you, how do you think the Democratic Party appeals to a more diverse electorate without alienating the base of the party?
Well, you know, I think working class applies to whoever the universe happens to be, whether it's black, brown, male, female. We're looking for people who want to work, have a job. They're able to take care of their family, provide health care. And at the end of that job is something called a pension. And as you know, labor unions moved a lot of people into the middle class. And so therefore, a lot of those individuals identify with the Democratic Party. I think what we have to do now is to see why we missed the mark in this election. And from my vantage point, I think that over-reliance on consultants and pollsters who really, from my opinion, don't have the pulse of the people at hand. And so that over-reliance caused us to miss our mark. Those of us who work every day in our districts, in many instances, we don't need a poll to tell us what the message happens to be. But likewise, when the opposition is trying to define who you are, we have to have a response to what they are saying. Yeah. I think what occurred in this election, to the credit of the Republicans, is they talked about transgender rights, a lot of other things, and the pollsters were saying, oh, nobody's paying any attention to that. They don't believe it. That's not the case. And so again, rather than follow politics 101, which is to say, if your opponent accuses you of something that's not true, you have to respond.
Yeah. I want to ask you, if I could, about Alyssa Slotkin and what she said. She won her Senate race in a state where Kamala Harris lost. And she said, personally, I think that identity politics needs to go the way of the dodo. Democrats should not use language from the faculty lounge, but from the assembly line. And it's sort of what you're saying, that they need to have the pulse of America. But I wonder what you make of this, given the fact that Vice President Harris, she didn't talk a lot about her identity. And Trump won, a lot of people would say, by appealing to people's sense of identity in the future of this country.
Well, I think, America is the rainbow. We have people from all walks of life living here, and there's no reason to run from it. I think as an American, we should be proud of who we are as that American and encourage other people to feel likewise. Yeah. But I think when we somehow get enamored by the professional campaign class, they somehow hijack many elections to your own detriment. Sometimes you have to follow, as they say in the South, your gut.
Yeah.
And if your gut tells you that there's a message out here that people are waiting to hear, then that's the message you should carry.
Could I also ask you, if I could, about transgender rights, because you brought that up. You talked about it as an issue that came up in this election. You now have Nancy Mace, a congresswoman, introducing a resolution that would ban the first transgender member of Congress from using the women's restroom at the Capitol. How do you think Democrats defend a member of their own caucus, a history-making member, while also not appearing to lean too far into the issues that may have alienated some voters in this election?
Yeah, I think clearly what Nancy Mace is doing is just trying to play the moment. I don't think there's any issue with that. That's not an issue. And I think Democrats have to address it. They are just seizing that moment. That our member is an elected member of Congress, and we go forward. Nancy Mace, as you know, does not have the knowledge base of in this institution that she really knows exactly what's going on in so many respects. And I think by filing a bill like this, we're all Americans, and we have to address it in that respect.
Yeah. And you were, of course, I want to ask you about January 6th, because you were the chairman of the House Select Committee investigating the Capitol attack. And your primetime hearings, they were seen by many as an investigative success. But some are now saying that they were a political failure, given that, of course, President-elect Trump is now heading back to the White House. So I wonder, what do you make of sort of voters now backing Donald Trump after January 6th and all the work that you put in?
Well, as you know, we put 2 years of work into that committee. We told the stories as our investigation put forth. But from our vantage point, there's nothing we presented in our hearings that we can't prove. It was clear that President Trump invited the people to the Capitol, to Washington. He encouraged them to go to the Capitol and stop the peaceful transfer of power, and they did it.
But what message does it send that voters reelected him?
Well, it means that obviously Donald Trump got his message over to those same people who came on January 6th that they need to come back in record numbers, and he designed a platform and a program that addressed it. And I think the Democrats on that instant missed the mark again, just like in promoting issues in the campaign that wasn't bread and butter issues for constituents. And so I'm convinced that over-reliance on professional consultants caused a significant drop-off in the Democratic message. In many instances, the message just didn't hit the mark. Those individuals who somehow are couched in pristine areas are not all the time the person who can carry and give the right message. Yeah. So for me and a lot of other people, again, this is a time for Democrats to say, look, we can't run cookie cutter commercials and expect people to feel who we are as Democrats. Yeah. We have to give our life experiences and our message so that people see Democrats as the people who really care. Yeah. We can't let someone take a healthcare message away from Democrats by saying they are trying to stop you from doing this. No,
well, I know that the party is definitely.
We have to address it.
Yeah, well, I know the party is definitely doing that. So thank you so much, Congressman, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.